So today is Flesh and Bloods in the Budget Season 1, season finale. Um, we come really far from when we started. Um, After 12 armories, there was a good amount of armories won and a couple of lessons learned. But today is the day we finally put everything we learned on the to the test and see how far we can get in this progress. I'm honestly very confident about the deck. The deck felt strong in most of the armories. So at the end, we our average was like above like 70% it probably. I think like hovering between like 66, 72%. I'm not sure how much was at the end. The most played deck was against the burdens. Like we had a good time against the normal burdens, but the potion burdens gave us a bit of a problem because we didn't have like enough damage like to kill them before they play their combo. But yeah, so let's go into the deck and let's see what we have to play with. Right, let's do the deck profile, but first let's add some blink to the deck for the last episode. So we're playing the nice Japanese Altar era for this episode. So for our equipment, our equipments going to be playing, of course, the Edge of Autumn as our weapon of choice. Our lastly acquired Arcanite Skullcap. It's the new head equipment we got last episode. So if you're new, I wouldn't really recommend go out of your way to buy a Skullcap. It is a nice piece of equipment to have if you like are into the game, but I would really recommend like shilling the 20 bucks. I don't know how much is in the US, but at least in Europe it's around 20 euros for like one of the reprints, or even cheaper for like the language reprints. Um, so the calling Hamburg, I got this beautiful marble Blazing Joroi. Uh, Now it's time to use it. Of course, our Rob of Autumn's Fall, our Cannon Skyrubs, our Pouncing Paws, and finishing up with the Tidelippers. So, nothing new after like episode, like nothing special. Only like the Skull Gap is like the newest acquisition we got the deck. And now let's go with the main deck. Yeah, so I'm going to be counting all the cards in the deck. So starting with the Cost Heroes, the 100 wins. It has combo, it's 0 for 3, it has go again. It combines with the Flick Legs. That's like that's why it's like better head jab, especially since it combos with itself. If we can stack this, we can do like a really nice offensive turn with like 3 into 5, and if we can finish with Winds of Eternity, we can shuffle them back to the deck, and that's really helpful against like decks that we know that the game's going to go really long. So against tempo based decks is going to be the Scar for Scar. The Scar for Scar, just 0 for 4, go again, as easy as it gets. But we need to have less life than our opponent. That's something fairly important to know, like when we can like save these ones, and also when to side this out against the Winds of Eternity. If there are like any matchups where we are going to be like ahead in life, and then the Seek Vengeance, a combo card, 0 for 4, and it has go again if it combos with the Edge of Autumn. So without the tuning, it's a bit harder to do like small turns like tuning Edge of Autumn into Seek Vengeance and finishing with a Scar for Scar without go again, for example. But it's still like an awesome card for flying kick turns and something like that. Same Bittering Thorns, 1 for 4, go again on hit. Our next attack has +1. Sometimes it's a bit hard to utilize this, and we need like at least 3 cards in order to play like a Bittering Thorns, and it only blocks 2. So sometimes this card gets a bit clunky, and that's why sometimes against certain matchups I would like to change them for the 100 wins. I think that's something that I learned lately in the Syndrome matchup, but I forgot to apply it since that's honestly something I just learned recently. Now the Pounding Gales, it's a card I really like to play, but it is what it is. It's only like 1 cost, so it combines. The only good combination it has is with Bittering Thorns, but it has combo, meaning we can just like block 1 more. I will honestly prefer like a 2 for 6 combo card that's a vanilla, but it's just like better numbers. Then we go to the disruption cards. First, Erase Phase. Erase Phase is just the first disruption card that we got. So we got it only because we pulled the diamond amulet. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to afford this. Maybe like one or two after like all the episodes. But yeah, erase face is really good against most of the decks. It has some also some niche implementations like turning seismic surges off, and some players don't really have that in mind when they get hit. So next up is going to be Humble. Humble was the first disruption card we got. Um, it is not the best, but it has some decent applications. I want to play it against KO, since KO is going to be like the new menace, at least at the moment I build the deck. Um, but right now it hasn't been like that awesome. KO, yeah, sadly. Um, Next, Sirens is these are honestly some of the MVPs in the deck. Just 2 for 7 that turn in like the 2 for 8, and we have like a turn cycle where we are having 9 value in our turn. Awesome, awesome card. Then next up is Amnesia. Amnesia is the one of the 3 block disruption cards. As you saw, Humble and Erase Face only block for 2, so that's like a bit of a problem. But Amnesia has less applications, but it blocks for 3 at least. Now our best disrupting card is the Neck Vengeance. It's basically our CNC replacement. Uh, it's just 2 for 6 combo, destroy Arsenal. It's 2 for 7 most of the times, or we can turn it into 2 for 8. Then Flying Kick. Flying Kick is just a big attack, comes for 7. But we need like to combine it with a Scar for Scar, 100 wins, or with our Sick Vengeance. I think Flying Kick is one of the cards that give us like an edge on the Syndra matchup, since it's like a 2 for 7 card. It has just good numbers. So the last addition we had to the action cards is going to be Smashing Good Time. Um, I wanted to have it just to play against combo burdens, since combo burden sometimes just stalls. Maybe close to the late game, we can find a way to disrupt burdens in a way. So getting with a Smashing Good Time and attacking like for 10, or we can do like a flanking turn. The thing is, Smashing Good Time, it's the next time an action card hits. Meaning, if we go like 3 or 4 chains wide, then all the chains will have the effect. So for the instance, we have first of all Sigil of Silence, just heal 3, basic. Then we are having Oasis Respite, just prevent for damage and heal 1 life sometimes. Really good against burdens, and sometimes Auxilio, just to stop the big arcane spells. Then we have 2 Common Breezes. These are honestly MVPs against Syndra. I really like them, how they like stop just a lot of time the turn of Syndra. So I think I had like 2 moments where I just instantly turn skip my opponent when I play Common Breezes. My opponent really wanted the resource from the chest. Next up, Sing Below, staple D-React, 0 for 4 block, came in the deck. Next up, Flick Flack. It's the same, 0 for 4, Ira staple. We don't have that many combo cards, so sometimes Flick Flack aren't that good, but when it works, it works, and it's just awesome. Then Wait for Scene, just another 0 for 4. This one's combined really well with Sink Below. And now for the blue base, 3 G's. Just another way to go wide if you have like a target turn, and it has combo, really important Flick Flack. Sick Vengeance, one of the best blue card we have. Just 0 for 2, go again, combo of Edge of Atom. It helps us to go wide in the late game. Winds of Eternity, combo with 100 wins. So if you can't afford like the $15 for this, just play like Philosophies. Usually it's like 1 in 2 games that you play Winds of Eternity. You are able to play the combo. So this helps you a little bit against bricking. This the deck usually wants to have like a 2 for 6 red and blue. But this gives you like another configuration. Now you have like a 0 for 6, quote unquote 0 for 6. If you draw Winds of 100 wins and Winds of Eternity, and you can come 3 go again into 5. That's basically the same amount of damage as if you do like Edge of Autumn into an attack for 6 of them. Next up, 1 cost blue card, Vengeance Never Rest. This is just a nice card for late game. Especially if we combine it with the Legacy of Ikaru, we can go like a couple of chainlinks wide, and our opponent needs to respect this, otherwise it's going to like to take a lot of damage. Next up is the Flying Kick. It came with the deck, and honestly, I've been liking this card a lot. It's part of our pitch deck plan, and if we have like a Sick Vengeance, then we can go like wide for up to 10 damage in a late game scenario. So next up, our Sirens of the Safe Harbor. Sometimes the block 2 has been a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. When played offensively, they have a lot of value, or sometimes they just block like a small attack, and that's also really fine. MVP of the deck is Last Ditch Effort. I don't know how many games we have won only because of Last Ditch Effort. This card has been pretty awesome. So this is a value deck, and sometimes we are going like to fatigue, but this just gives us like an edge on the late game when we can go like Last Ditch Effort into Last Ditch Effort just to finish the game. Next up is going to be the Legacy of Ikaru. Just a one-off. I haven't really liked this card a lot since a lot of our cards are now generics. It's only honestly only good in the enact and the into enact vengeance, bittering thorns, or vengeance never rests. Otherwise, it's a bit whack. But it's a reaction +1, so sometimes it just helps to re-equip the Edge of Autumn if we screw up and we're not able to re-equip it. And at last, one Amulet of Echoes. Cyborg against Auxilio, and it used to be like Cyborg against combo burdens, but honestly, I was copying at that time. It's fine where if the verdance is on like Surgeon Ethertide, but it's not fine if like the verdance is just playing the regular combo with the Waning Moon. But yeah, that's all for the deck. So I have the link in the description where all the deck is posted, and you're going to see what change week per week. There's also like a cyber guide for each matchup for each week. Just make sure to be in the correct week and choose the correct hero, and you're going to be having a cyber match. So let's go to the pro quest. Whoop. So we played once against Jarl until now, and as we know, Jarl likes disruptive playstyle and he destroys equipment. This case is going to be like a full fatigue Jarl, so we need to. I think it was probably like a mistake not running more than 60 cards, even though I don't really like it. But sometimes we must, when our opponent is running Remembrance plus 65 cards, sometimes we need to get to their level. This is going to be the configuration I'm running as well. Honestly, nothing special, nothing out of the ordinary. Just trying to run like some more go against to go wider and deal some damage. So welcome to the first game of the last episode, and our first round is against Jarl. And I must say this is my own fault. This is what happens after my own actions. I told my friend that he should play Fatigue Jarl at this event, and he made it. So he started playing Fatigue Jarl for this event, and we got burned to round 1. So that was annoying. So he's rocking Jarl 65 cards. I think I should probably play it more than 60 cards. I was on a clean 60. I'm honestly a clean 60 believer. I think most of the time I don't really need more than 60 cards to win the game. Just in like some special scenarios, like maybe my opponent playing like 65 cards and trying to fatigue me. That's the boring stuff. But anyway, so he goes first and he starts throwing a Cranial Crush just like to get some cards away from my hand, and as well like to just gain some card advantage in deck. I ended up blocking with 1 red Sirens, 1 blue Sick Vengeance, and 1 blue Flying Kick. So overall, I just blocked with 3 blue cards. I was hoping like to draw more blue cards and something good, and also like the Siren. So I went up to 41 life, already winning to 0. But I wasn't sure what like to rock on the Goagen side, so I ended up like playing all of the Goagen things, just like to see if I can push some damage. And I got really rewarded because I drew like double 100 wins and erase face for the first turn. Meaning if Jara had for some reason like a filling of the crown arsenal, blocking 2 cards from hands, or 3 cards and then throw the felling, he isn't going to be able to throw the felling. So yeah, pushing like 15 damage of my 4 cards is pretty good, and also like doing the combo line with the 100 wins, also like not too shabby. So I ended up IPing me on one because I have some Gorgon, but not that much Gorgon, and sometimes it's just like difficult to use it, especially against like Jarl that just wants to block a lot and has a lot of blocking cards. His swings of CNC. It was a bit tough because the cards that blocked. So I didn't want it like to block my equipment because otherwise he could like destroy it in that case, and it was like only just like a thing below, and the other cards I had in my hand were not that great in blocking. I just took the damage and swing. Um, yeah, but what annoyed me a little bit was that at the end he healed up on a lot of life. So that means if Arsenal discovers car, it would be like life, and I would have like an awesome turn after. But in that case, sadly, I pitched the Scarface card thinking maybe if I like take some damage until I get like the late game, it would be like fine. So right now I'm just trying to punch as efficiently as possible while my opponent's blocking like as efficiently as possible. Um, I was a bit unlucky that I didn't have like. I mean, it would be like pretty lucky if I draw another card now that he's ahead in life, but sadly not. So he's just like blocking a lot, looking for corner peak, healing himself with more of the with sigils and the hardened fiddle. So the hardened fiddle is going to be a problem in the future because he's got like if it comes like to extreme fatigue when I can only swing with my Edge of Autumn, he has the shield and the hardened fiddle, meaning he basically heals every turn I swing, and that's honestly not good. So that's honestly a bit annoying. So I'm just still trying to do the most like offensive overlaps I can. Like in the best case, I need like to go 4 chains wide. But a bit unfortunate is as our main Gorgon tool, being the Scar for Scar, is disabled because we are a lot of the time ahead in life, and Jarl. We need like to time the times when Jarl heals himself when we draw the Scar for Scars, and it isn't happening that much until it happens, and after that I need like to use that opportunity to do like offensive overlap, meaning if I go like 4 chains wide, I'm bound to deal some damage against Jarl, and as we can see, like Jarl is just like up and down healing himself up to 40 life. I'm not sure what happened here, if I maybe didn't look correctly at like how the life totals were, because definitely sending this Edge of Autumn instead of the Scarf of Scar is probably a mistake. Or maybe I was just thinking if I could take some damage until the Scar comes back, maybe I can do like a big turn at the end. But otherwise, it felt like a mistake. Um, yeah, I mean, like, you're sending one instead of sending 4. Like, at the end, it's like, if we block with a Scar in late game, it's like 1 less value. Yeah, so that basically opened him to channel like me laking me for free right now, and that snowball like into an Ugnald. So I used the channel lake opportunity to like try to pitch deck that the neck vengeance I had, like a red neck vengeance, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to go so deep. And now with the first Ugnald I had an out. Um I knew he wasn't going to be able like to keep the channel lake for another turn. Um So I tried like to do an offensive turn, but like in hindsight, it was maybe like a mistake. Maybe if I just like try to, maybe if I just block with my 2D react, saving me like a -1 counter on my skull cap, and just paying 2 for the D reacts, making like another pitch deck like that. Red flying kick would have been pretty good to have in the late game. And if I give Jarl 5 cards, there's not much he can do, especially now that there are like a couple of now that there are like a couple of sigils out. And yeah, he ended up like not doing that much since he just used a card to destroy my skull cap that I used to block. And now you can see how I got punished a lot. Like instead of trying to send the flank to the bottom and doing a pitch check, um, I like swung with my attack, and now I have like no good attack to play like into this channel. So at the end, I just sent some who attacked and pass turn. Uh, that wasn't like a great hand and didn't push like that much damage. And yeah, those kind of turns are like they like to feel bad turns. Um, but at the end, the attack I used went for like 3 value, and I think that another feel bad moments that I drew like the 100 wins and the 100 and like some fire turn as well. So a bit unlucky how these 2 turns went, but I think everything comes around from like the one turn that I misplayed. So the CNCs had been pretty good time this game. I had this legacy in Ikaru that was just waiting for the right moment to be played. Now that I drew like this Vengeance Never Rest, that's like a really good moment to be played. Uh, but I had 2D reacts as well, and a CNC was coming, so meaning I need to block with my attacks. And I just swing my edge bottom and pass, and my opponent has like this Potent Visage, goes to the Channel Lake, and swing with the Titan's Fist. And I drew like the third Scar, so I just pitched it since it's useless right now, and I think if I just take some damage in the future, then it's probably fine. I had like no really like offensive turn this turn, so just swing my edge and pass, and a lot of the times Jarl isn't going to be able to do like a lot. It requires cards like right now that he draws like this E-Strike. So now my next vengeance comes, and I just try to swing and see what happens. My opponent blocks with a staunch. I decided to use my Legacy Ikaru here, since first of all I need like to get the flexors at some point, because the flexors are going to be like pretty relevant in the future, like depending on what like my opponent is doing. So when the flexor is gone, then that means that my Scar Wraps are unlocked and I can use them like more often. That's why I wanted like to have some vengeance cards for late game. But sadly, my opponent was just like, I think I'm going to use flexors. No, I think rather not. I think I just lose the card in my arsenal. Since for some reason was like this Midas Touches was in his deck. It's like, why is that in your deck? Why are you arsenaling that thing? But yeah, so we just got the Midas Touch that my opponent was playing for some reason, and he just couldn't pick us. And for us, it's like pretty irrelevant if we get like coordinate peak, because it's not that we can use like fork our hands a lot. Um, I think like maybe a swinging hammer is a bit better. And as you can see, we just like pitch a card and the thing that we have done like anyway. Like probably the only difference is that maybe we have thrown the like that and act vengeance and take something away from my opponent. Um, Now I just throw the sirens and pass, and my opponent takes all, which is a little bit sus. Usually when all teams like do that, they have all the time in the jars going to be like a big play. But no, it seems that he just wanted to be ahead on the deck game and didn't want to like to block that, so he just like threw pitches and I piece him, and I was like with question marks around my head why he did something like that. Even if I am PMing myself in one, I think maybe taking these hammers and sending like the directs to the bottom is a little bit better, because that way like the scars for scars are unlocked for later. As you can see, for example, right now I had like this card that is just for 5, and I swing with my edge bottom, and the Jarl is just like healing a little bit, blocking the shield, and swinging the hammer. Um, yeah, so right now I just have like another not that great turn. I think that's also some of like the consequences of my own actions, because I think I should have just tried to stack a little bit more. So like these D-reacts in late game don't help that much. I think if we get to a certain degree in the game, I would be like a little bit favored because my if I still have like 2 for 6 in my deck, I do like 1 to 7, and there's no way that Jar can block that efficiently and do something with like the two or one remaining card in his hand. So at that point, I should be like in a favored position. So now my opponent comes with an Oakenhold. We knew about this Oakenhold because he was stacking it before, so that's why I had a D-React prepared, especially for this Oakenhold. And I just blocked it with two of my equipments and a card from hand, and that way I avoid like putting two cards on the bottom, and I still push 6 damage with the remaining cards. Um, but now I have like another exposed equipment zone, so if Jarl is able like to play a couple of ice cards, going to be like in a bit of a problem. And now he gets like a second Oakenhold. I wasn't able to be prepared against this one because they were like back to back. So I just take it, block with my direct, and swing. I luckily had this flying kick I put in the bottom like a couple of turns before. Um, I think this one there was a card I pitched when I blocked with like the reacts like a couple of turns ago. Um, so then that's why I had this fire kick, and now I swing with the sword, pouncing paws, and additional flying kick. That's 9 damage, but it's like fairly evasive because it's like 1, 1, and 7. So it's really difficult like to block. If my opponent's willing to give me like 2, 3 blocks, he's still going to be taking like 3 damage because there's no way that he blocks that unless he's something like a shelter. But that's like a different story. So he played out this Crumble to Eternity. I think we both forgot that he gave me a frostbite. So my turn would have been like a little bit different in that case. I just like try to push on damage to see what happens. So I think if that in that case, the frostbite, then I would have just not thrown the other vengeance the arrest. But at this point, the game is looking kind of okayish. If I just manage like to push some damage to finish the game, then it would be nice because I have like a nice life lead, so he can throw like whatever he wants to throw. But then one of my not favorite cards enters the play in the form of Remembrance, shuffling himself 3 CNCs. So right now, I need to keep all the cards I need, and the CNCs basically say I am not allowed to keep an arsenal because otherwise I need like to keep 2 cards. So right now I just try to get rid of my arsenal and push all the damage I can while not having an arsenal, and that's a bit annoying because that way I can't really prepare for like that last effort turn. And it is especially annoying when the CNC with Dominate comes. I think that there like this CNC makes so many ripples around the game. Um, for example, right now it destroyed my Direct. I think that was also like my last Direct, and that wasn't really annoying. I really wanted that to have that Direct for like some later things. I also don't really think like in hindsight blocking with this pouncing here was the best. Like we're far ahead in life, and I think if like throwing it for two value, it would have been like better than blocking 3. So mm, maybe a small misplay on my part, but I think I just wanted to have like less cards in my deck at that point. Another card that's a little bit annoying this matchup is also like the Everbloom Life. Like healing 1 life and recurring another Everbloom just to have like this infinite loop of 1 life healing is really annoying, especially because in that case it basically counters my weapon in late game. So if he has like 1 card and that card is like the Everbloom, we get like into stalemate where we can't progress. But luckily, in the case of a stalemate in FaB, um, the winner is the person with the life lead, so I would win. But we're not going that because you will see it soon. Now, like the last Scar for Scar shows up, I mean, it would have been really good if he had to go again, because in that case, the flying kick we have in hand would be like unlocked. But that's not the case, so it's just like whatever. But my opponent gave us the tunic right here. Not sure why he gave us the tunic, but it's like, it feels like weird in that case. Um, but yeah, then he just plays like the Eva Bloom once again, heals one, and comes with this Terra Sunder. So this Terra Sunder basically it's like the game winning cards in this matchup. Because so we are only be able to, we were able to get Terra Sunder because we lost this the react from the arsenal, and we lost the reactive CNC, and the CNC is in the deck because of the effing Rembrandts. I really hate this card. Um, and so that's why we weren't able to block that, meaning we need to discard two. And the two cards I discarded were basically uh, the Flying Kick and the Seek Vengeance. So that's like at least 9 damage we lost because of that. And I honestly think if we not get like Terra Sunder in that turn, I would honestly win this game. So basically, Remembrance carried this game at the end. Maybe like running one or two more cards would have done a lot for us. It's honestly really unfortunate, and so I just like swing with my edge, but he blocks with the shield, healing himself on one, and it was like really bad for me. And at the end, I just had like the classic combo, swinging the last ditch effort into Edge of Autumn and finishing up with the flying kick. And my opponent just was able to block a lot, and at the end, he just basically looped me with the Heart of Fyendal, and yeah, so it was honestly really important. I think if without the remembrance, he would definitely lose. And maybe there were like some misplays here and there. For example, like blocking with some powerful cards at moment where it would have been better to stack them. But yeah, I'm honestly a bit sad that I lost this first round. It felt pretty winnable, and the way that it ended, it just left like a bad taste in my mouth. Um, because all that life healing was the thing that honestly made the difference at the end, and especially because he has like the shield and the Heart of Findle. So with that, he's just able like to block all the turns and heals himself on one until he is like out of the reach, and at the end he just swings the hammer until he kills me. So he ends up like at one life, and but he can just block and goes up in life, blocks and goes up in life until we are like at the same life, and at that point he just like kills me with the hammer, because I'm at 15 and he is like at the same life that I had before. So GG's, really close game, probably with some room of improvement. But yeah. So Syndra, as we know, Syndra does a lot of pings and evasive damage, and the disruption is good against her. At the beginning, I thought the matchup was bad for us, but then I noticed it's only Wrath Retribution that makes the matchup bad. If we're able like to not get hit by the Wrath, I think we are mostly winning those games. This is going to be our load up against Syndrome. Honestly, nothing has changed since the beginning. Just that now we're rocking like the gold cap, and that should help us a lot. Just like to block a little bit more. So welcome to the round two, and now we're playing against Syndrome. So buckle up. I love the Dyro, so Syndra decides for me to go first. That's no problem for me because I started the natural Hutton swing and then I swung the Sirens, killing me on one, and for some reason he only blocked with two cards. So I push also 1 damage, but it's like fine for me. Uh, yeah, so now I think I did some sort of mistake. Um, so I think I should have probably blocked the second one because usually when you block like the third one, unless Syndra has something like a snatch, then Syndra's won't send like the fourth attack because the chain is already broken. And if it's something else, then I don't really care if I need to block it or not. And I think this is like a misplay that is going to did a lot of ripples through the whole game, and I'm honestly really mad about that.
And because I didn't block like last turn, now I'm presented with like some tough choices. Either I IP myself on one, or I use one card from one value. Um, Maybe the correct choice was to IP myself on one, because using a card for only one value isn't good anyway. Yeah, so I just swings this vengeance on the rest. Maybe I thought maybe it gets like unblocked, but he had like a D react, so it was like, whatever at that point. So you can see me just now. I had like a break hand, so if I IP myself on one, then I would have been able like to use my hand occasionally. But now I just block everything else on the pass. Also, my opponent played the snatch at the end. It was a mistake of him not breaking the chain before, because now I'm just able to block my Blazing Roy and like an Arsenal pass. But my opponent is not out of gas, since now he has the Wrath of Attribution with his two daggers ready. Um, I lose a lot of life, and I'm honestly pretty behind. But I still like have some strong turns, especially right now since I have like this flanking turn pushing 13 damage and almost equalizing the life. And now my opponent blocks with two cards, and I thought this is it. Especially since he just attacked with a Rebel and I synced. But disaster struck because my hand was so bad. My hand was incredibly bad. So it was basically two D reacts, one blue card, and a Calming Breeze with an Sigilin Arsenal. And there was like no way I could have played something that turn. So at the end, I decided to do the thing I should have done a couple of turns before, and I peed myself on one, because the Calming Breeze and the Flick Flag are so good against Hydra. Like they basically stop like the mass turn if I am able like to block with the like to block properly. And on top of that, I was able to follow it up with a erase phase. So that made me feel pretty confident, even though I was so behind in life. I'm still able like to play defensively. I have my race phase ready, and I can do as I please. I think probably a misplay I did a lot was not blocking earlier with the skull cap, because there was like some value I lost because I didn't block it with that. So my opponent had an incredible turn onto the race phase, so that made me feel less confident. But I also had like a really good follow up turn, being 100 wins into swing sword, finishing with Knack Vengeance. Probably another small misplay from this turn was I should have better just keep the 100 wins, because that gives me like some configurations for like the turns after. If I have like Winds of Eternity or full red hands with a Sick Vengeance, that gives me like 2 card 9 value, and that's going to be pretty fine. I think just throwing the Neck Vengeance on its own would be like good enough, because it would like threaten the arsenal. And not only that, but it would have gave us like a bit more of an opportunity to use the skull cap, because our opponent would be like 3 life ahead, and we can just save it the skull cap for like later. Um, but yeah, so right now I'm just trying to work with the cards that I have. But as you can see, if I have like less life, then I would like if my opponent had more life, then I would be able like to do a little bit more. For example, I would have been able to block this lava burst a bit better. So the thing in my hand was, I think the hand was full red, and that's why it wasn't like great hand. In that case, I could just have block with the skull cap, my Arcana Skyraps, and one of the race phases on that lava burst, and still been able like to throw the 100 wins with the sick vengeance. In that case, I would have been able to steal at least one card from my opponent. But the thing that bugs me a little bit is that the top cards of my opponent's deck, we know it is this the thing that that throws both daggers, and that would have been like pretty annoying. But coming back to like the misplay, if I'm still at 4 life and I steal one card from my opponent, then my opponent wouldn't have been able to do like the things he does on his turn. Because now, as you can see, he comes for 3 go again, 3 go again. into two, throw into daggers, and then playing like clicking and throw dagger, meaning he did exactly the 4 damage going into lethal with his 4 cards. And if I don't misplay that and play it properly, meaning I arsenal the 100 wins, then I would be able to come for 3 to 5, meaning my opponent has to give us like his whole equipments and 1 card from hand to not die. So this game was honestly decided by so many misplays on my part, starting with the one not blocking on the turn 1. I think that had so many ripples through the game, and then finishing with this misplay of throwing the 100 wins just to push damage. So 100 wins is like a zero cost 3 go again. So we're always going to be able to use it. And at worst case, we're throwing 100 wins and swinging our Edge of Autumn, doing like 2 cast 5, but that at least unlocks like a little bit more value. So it was a combination of a unfortunate hand at the end, plus just me playing bad. So don't really let this discourage you. If you play it correctly, you can win these games. As we saw like in all the episodes, I just feel like really disappointed in myself that I wasn't able like to play these games better. And finally, we're playing against Scurry Bones. Against Scurry Bones, clean allies is very important. Luckily for us, we have a weapon that attacks for 1 and has go again, meaning we can clear Rigor or Limpet or some allies that have 1 life pretty good. The only problem are the allies with 3 life, because we need like some specific cards to kill them. And D-Reacts are pretty good in Arsenal, just like to stop Conquer of the High Seas, because on hit it not only destroys our arsenal, but it also generates gold for Gravy, and the gold is really good for him. And as we can see, this is going to be our load up. After playing the game, I decided that the Realm of Autumn's Fall is going to be better than the 1 block. So the 1 resource we generate can go far, and it's like a little better than the 1 block. And as we can see, there are a lot of D-Reacts for this, and Humble is a card that I think it's interesting in this matchup. I'm maybe thinking to play it, but not so sure. Now it's round 3. It's actually round 4, but it's game 3. My opponent on round 3 dropped after we got paired, so I had no opponent. I was just standing there thinking about all the mistakes I did in the last couple of games and how yeah, no, I don't know. It was just rough. The games, some mistakes plus unfortunate pairing. So right now, this is the first time we are playing against Gravy. Some reason we managed to dodge Gravies all the time. But yeah, enjoy the first Gravy match we're playing. So the starting hand wasn't great for me, but luckily my opponent decided to start swinging the Golden Tipple, discard an Anchor, and then swing with the Anchor. Use this opportunity to play a fair foreseen, like to check what I was going to draw, and maybe fish for something to kill the Anchor, and also block another card. It wasn't that awesome what I ended up drawing, but it was fine-ish. So I push 1 damage, kill the Anka with the Sirens, and just heal 3 more life sigil. So I'm up at 45 life, 45, and I'm just chilling. So my opponent with 5 cards. I mean, Gravy with 5 cards, he can definitely do some damage. But it honestly depends on like what configuration of cards it has. In this case, it starts with the port thingy that discards Limpet, drawing a card, creating gold, and then plays the chart, and Kaching hits 1 gem and 1 blue card. Honestly, pretty strong. So, yeah. And he plays the Limpet and swings with the ship. He ships it, and I think he arsenals like another ship in that case. But yeah, I was pretty prepared, because now I swing my Edge of Autumn to kill Limpet, and I swing my Enact Vengeance. I mean, I swing 7. Gravies don't usually block that well. Sometimes with Blood in the Water, they can block up to 6. So I should be careful when I'm activating my Volcano Scarab. But in this case, if my opponent just like doesn't block, then I think I mean, if he doesn't block, then I'm not like in the clear, because he could just like activate blood in the water, getting rid of an ally, and then activating the chest to block the flexors. So flexors are strong cards in this matchup, and my opponent had indeed the blood in the water, so I didn't want to activate Mascara for that. So my opponent now plays another People, discarding another Limpet, and it's okay. So I just take the one, he plays a Limpet, swings to a Limpet, but he's still holding a couple of cards, and I know that Chum is like in the grave, so I need to be careful. He ended up playing the Chum, and now in my turn I had like a nice out. But after playing this matchup, I think the correct way to play this matchup is not with the Blazing Joy, since it's only a block one, but rather with the card, like the AB card that comes to the deck. I don't really know the name right now. That gives us on hits one resource. In that case, we are always hitting with the edge button, so there is basically on demand one resource. And in this case, it would have been nice because we could have just kept like an extra card. So I killed the Chum with the combination of the Edge of Autumn and the Bittering Thorns, being just like a clear out. If he has like the card that gives -1, that's a problem. But we still are able like to go phase with the raise phase for 7. The raise phase is okayish into Gravy. It shuts down like a couple of cards that say your next pirate ally, and it especially shuts down the hook, because the hook is a card that you just mentioned is next pirate attack. So we let the Limpet live for one more turn, but we have him until like the raise phase effect. So there are a couple of things we don't need to worry. So it starts the both side exchange, discarding and drawing, activating the death threats to swing with the Saltwater Swell. But the Saltwater Swell just missed, meaning now he needs like to pitch to do some things, and seal attack with Scuba. He didn't set up, I think, IPing himself on one or over pitching. I think maybe like the correct play would have been just to activate Gravy to get rid of the Chum he has in the hand. That would have been like a way better play, I think. So this turn, I don't have like a clear out to Scuba, and I'm not throwing like an erase face to Scuba. So I just rather kill the Limpet and throw the erase face to the face. Just shutting down like some other card effects. Like I think I see this Loot the Hold in his hand, and I'm like pretty sure that Loot the Hold is a card that says just the expired ally. So that's something good for us. So the turn is looking rather meek for my opponent. He just like makes a Gold Kiss Rum, plays Rigor, and swings. I'm okay with it. I block with 2 cards, and I had this Take Vengeance that I use. So my hand was bad anyway because it was like 4 reds. So I just block 6 on the Rigor and swing, kill the Rigor with my edge bottom, and then kill the Doggo. So just clearing the 2 allies. But the problem is my opponent has 2 golds and 5 cards. So Gravy can do like crazy stuff, like if kept on check. But apparently the hand for my opponent wasn't awesome, so he just played like a FaB and passes. So against my better judgment, I just decided to go face to the FaB. Honestly, not like the best thing to do, ignoring the FaB, because I mean it's like 2 for 7, like 1 card 7, and yeah, that's can be like a bad choice. And at the end, it wasn't like the best choice because my opponent was able like to do a lot. He pushed like 8 into 6, finishing with a 7, dealing like 21 damage with his hands. So if I killed the FaB, I would have like prevented a good chunk of that damage. But since I had like the Flick Flag, I was able like to block a lot and still keeping the life lead. My hand was like awesome, but now I have like a clear out to the FaB in the form of like the Bittering Thorns. So swing the Bittering Thorns into a Scar for 6, like 10 value, clearing the FaB, and now my opponent has like no gold, and he can only play with the cards he has. So at the end, my opponent dragged like his last gold to send the ship. Wasn't able to do quite a lot. I blocked 5, blocking with my Ponting Paws, because I wanted to use them to do like a flanking turn. Now he plays another chart that hits. This time he hits a Doggo, and a blue one. But I think after that he like his brain just turned off, as my opponent said, because he was a bit upset after he started like doing some weird plays and noticing like his weird plays. He activates Call to the Grapes and sends the thing that gives him like an action point, and he was just thinking, "Oh man, I think I'm just like doing a lot of mistakes," and yeah, so ended up killing his both his allies with the Sick Vengeance. So I never noticed how cool this is, like to kill a one power ally and to also kill the boner. Just like swing into the ally, he will activate the boner. It's a bit of value waste, but it's nice that I can like kill both. Like after like the damage prevention. So now he plays G3 and plays the next Rigor Modis, and because he had like an action point from the ROM, because the Rigor had go again, he's also able to play the Chum. Um, but as we know, we have like some nice outs to it. So I swing with the Jafatum into the Rigor, killing it, and I have like a couple of choices. If my opponent decides to activate the Chum, then I can just throw the flying kick into him. But he doesn't, so I just swing with the 100 Winds face for 4, and killing the Chum with the flying kick. That also plays around the Fearless Confrontation, and that's pretty finish. So now, like my opponent plays Close to the Grave, sends Sawbones, but he rather plays I mean the Swabi, and swings for 7. So and he passes turn. My hand isn't great, so I just block 3. Kill the Swabi with the Sirens, as we saw like on the first turn, I think. Heal 1 and play the Sigil, just like in the first turn. Now it seems without the gold, he's having a tough time, and so he just cracks the ROM to play the Chum and swing with Chum. I'm absolutely fine with that. I just block with a Sing below, and I have like the perfect out in the form of the Sick Vengeance. So we could play around Fearless Confrontation at this point, because Sin Vengeance can come for 6, so it's like a clear auto Chum. But we can also swing with the Edge of Autumn into Chum, like that the way we swing like 7 damage into Chum. Um, in that case, we play around Fearless Confrontation, but we lose one value. And at the end, I just swing with my Enact Vengeance to push on damage at the end. So right now, he's really scraping the bottom of the barrel. He throws the select that I just fully cover them up, and then swing with 100 Winds into Scar for Scar. I'm far ahead in life, but the 100 Winds make the Scar for Scar still like a wounded blow. So it's just easily blockable. And but then he plays like the card. I think it's a bit harder to clear if I don't have like 100 Winds in form of the Sawbones. But I have like a deja vu from last turn. Just play another 100 Winds into Scarfed Car. Just clearing the Sawbones and pushing 5 damage to face. My opponent like just blocks it out. And his hand isn't like awesome. He just plays this Avasi into the Humperdinck. I'm not sure if that it's like the best play he could have done. There may be like better plays to do, like play that the Swabi that's on top of his grave and swing. But I'm not sure if he had like another ally he could play. So just clear the Humperdinck. So once again, we could be playing around Fearless Competition, but at this point, I think we're far ahead that we can just try to finish the game, like just pushing a little bit more damage, um, and killing the Humperdinck, and that maybe like his last out he could have. Um, yeah, now he just plays like the doggo and tries like to recycle something. Usually, I don't really want like to fatigue in this game because I think I have like enough damage to kill my opponent. But sometimes the games just like go really long if I don't have like the best outs, or if my opponent isn't like throwing that hot. But yeah, so at the end I just ended up clearing his rest allies and killing him while also fatiguing him. So at last, we're going to be what we call the Schmuck. There's honestly not that much to do in this matchup. Just wait until we die, since it is how that's how the cookie crumbles. We don't have like that much damage. to kill the deck before he generates enough rune shots to close. It's going to be like what we're running in hindsight. After playing the match, I think the humbles are a little bit better because that way we can like steal quote unquote some rune chance from our opponent if he is not able like to block it. So time for the last round against Florian. If you thought the last game was boring, like against Jarl, and this is going to be even more boring. So buckle up for the last game of this progress. Florian starts. Activates Grasp, activates the book, makes the rune chance, draws a card, and passes. And I am just there sitting and thinking, oh man, this is going to be one of the worst games I ever play. So this deck is rather low power. And on top of that, I'm playing against rune chance deck. So it's so not fun. So my start hand is full red, pretty cool red. I swing my sirens just to heal like maybe some life, maybe like hopefully I don't die. And my opponent makes more rune chants in my turn. So now my opponent is up to 4 rune chants. So that's my pass. I am once again flooded with pretty cool red cards. But at least this time I can do nothing. And now I have like a little bit of a problem because I have 4 red card clumped on the bottom. And that's not nice. Not nice at all. Yeah, so my opponent just blocks everything, makes more rune chance. Play the turn, just play some rune chance and pass. You know, there's honestly not much to do. It's just block and make some rune chance. So you can see me swinging, and my opponent just blocks a lot, plays something that makes more rune chance and passes, and I'm there like as kind of a clown just waiting for me to die. I managed to string like a really cool turn with 100 wings, Seek Vengeance, and a Flying Kick. That's honestly some of like the best turns I can probably string together. It's like a lot of damage, and Florian sometimes doesn't want to block. Florian didn't block, and at the end just makes more rune chants and pass. It's like how fun and interactive. I mean, like to be honest, we could skip like most of this game. Um, After a while, my opponent decides just to come with a Plow Wonder and 12 rune chance. I take some damage. Probably should block a bit more with equipment. I don't know. But yeah, just take like a shit ton of damage. Go down to 36. But my opponent has no rune chance, and I think to myself, oh my, maybe this is nice. So my opponent's turn plays dirt and passes turn. It's like it's absolutely nothing to do, and it's like so boring to play against this. Like this is so ass when I just swing. It's like 20 turns of me just trying to push some damage while my opponent is just like blocking everything. And each time my opponent has like some extra cards, um, just you know place them and make some rune chants. So now we get to final turn where my opponent actually does a little bit more. My opponent heals. So plays a currency hits, heals 1, makes the rune chance. Plays Sigil, heals 3, and then plays the Crystal Blossom, I think that's the name. Heals and makes even more rune chance. And now I'm just thinking, oh my god, this is what I'm doing here. I just do like a flying kick turn. We both are like like above 30 life, and it is nothing, like I am just trying to do the best I can with what I have. In hindsight, like probably some of the I could have even cut like the thing below because they are like doing nothing. Until my opponent plays like a remembrance. So we have enough time. Let me ramble a little bit about remembrance. So last round won because of remembrance. Now we're losing the next round also because of remembrance. So remembrance gives my opponent basically the ability to block with all the cards they want, and then they just shuffle the stuff back. In a mid-range matchup, remembrance is basically like 1 power card in block 6 sometimes. Um, or like how it was in the other matchup, it was 18 offensive value remembrance. Um, and I mean, my opponent only won because of the remembrance in the first round. That was a little bit annoying. Um, like not having the direct because I lost to the thingy, and now my opponent is just like shuffling a lot of things back. Like all this recursion is so annoying. Like my opponent is shuffling the arcane seeds and germinate back. So last week I also played an other progress. I played with the fully tuned era. I also played against this person. Um, I had like an awesome pitch deck, and but still wasn't enough. You know, like this deck is so boring to play against. And the annoying thing is my like because my opponent knew that my deck was better than this time. My opponent played like 65 cards. On top of the remembrances, I got germinated 4 times. I had 54 life and I lost against like 74 rune chance. It was really cool being germinated 4 times. You know, it was really cool that the fact that because my opponent has so many cards, they can just block, do like all the runs and then do nothing. You know, like I really hate playing against this kind of decks that don't really play because you know at least there are like other fatigue decks that are like kind of cool. You know, like the Jarl deck tries like to do something else as just not play the game while you know like this deck only plays the game for 1 turn and then that's it. Like the Jarl deck at least has some interactivity. You know, like it had some levels. Like I'm stacking my fates to counter attack like the Oakenolds and stuff, but here it's just like it's nothing. You know, it's nothing for like 20 turns until my opponent decides just to kill me. And that's honestly what happens. You know, as you can see, I'm just trying trying to play my turns as efficiently. Maybe stack some disruption for late game, but I you know like my only disruption are like the race faces and the neck vengeances. But Florian is also really cool that he has this huge fridge. And on top of that is also plane selectors, meaning I can never activate my Arcana Skyraps until I know that my opponent has like nothing else to do. You know, I can use certain levels of interaction like to stop the kill turn. For example, I can use the Wraith Faces to weaken the power of the Germinates, or if I know that my opponent is going to kill me like on the next turn, I just play an Amnesia, and Amnesias are decent because they basically take the effect away from the blade. Um, and in that case, my opponent has like to pitch against it, but it isn't enough. You know, like I need some level of disruption. And in this case, I just try to push some damage. My opponent just does nothing for 20 turns until my opponent has enough functions and I die. Flesh and blood at peak level. I honestly feel the same about like this potion verdants or like the CYB verdants like it's in the past. It's like some decks that just do nothing for 20 turns and then you just die, you know? And depending on what deck you do, you can even do something about it. You know, like it's not like Prism against Guardians because at some point Prism just snowballs with like all the Spectre Shields attacking for one. But this is just like, you know, I think it's like it feels even worse that you are not doing like you're trying to do your best while your opponent basically does nothing, you know. Uh, Pretty boring to play against this. I was really disappointed about this season finale. Like the round one Jarl was quite annoying how I lost that. The round two, some misplays from my part. Round four, I mean, was pretty easy match round four. And now, like last round, where I just play against Florian. Yeah. But it is what it is. I hope everyone enjoyed like all the games we had like in all the weeks, and I hope everyone learned something from this. Um, yeah, I'm going to not be doing a couple of videos for like a while, at least after Worlds. I'm going to see what is the next armor deck being released. Otherwise, like the current contenders for the next season are probably going to be like the Reiner armor deck, Sleepy armor deck, or even the KO. Now that KO got like some support, there are maybe a couple of players eager to grab like a KO armory deck and start playing. So maybe those players want to play. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this and they learned something. See you on the next season. Bye. Oh well. The progress didn't went as I thought it would go. Was honestly really bad. Please, I don't want to discourage anyone like to play the deck. I think the deck is still pretty good. The first round was a bit unfortunate. Like the fatigue got us at the end. I think it's like remembrance. You know, like the thing is, my opponent was playing 65 cards and remembrance, so basically like 67 with 60 NC. So like, sure, bro. Like that's a string of things that remembrance bros. I really hate those fucking cards, to be honest. Yeah, like game two, I think it just I lost on my own. Like I should have just blocked with the one of the three blocks. And not like wait, and at the end I just like went like negative in value, so it wasn't good at all. And then you know the other games were I think what they were like whatever. Like at the Florian we have like honestly no really out like we can't outplay them because uh, the thing is I cannot deal that much damage as Syndra does, but I can disrupt. But Florian is like whatever, just blocks, make more skill. You know, I really hate those kind of decks where I'm just like waiting to die. It's like honestly even boring to play against. But yeah, it is. I guess like it is what it is. But I'm a bit really mad that the performance was like so poor this time. Like a bit of combination of like bad matchups with me not playing the best. But yeah, I guess it is what it is. But please, I hope everyone enjoyed it. Going to be doing a poll soon to like determine which is going to be like the next deck I'm going to be playing. It's going to be probably after Worlds, most likely. I want to see what I do in Worlds. Honestly, I think I'm bringing Ira. I'm probably going to bring like an episode 2 named like FaB without a budget, OBA number one, something like that. Where I showcase the power of like the like full budget Ira and show you how the deck would look like. Oh yeah, I hope you enjoy the series. If you enjoy it, please leave a comment and yeah, see you for the next series. Bye.